Welcome to the Wise Guyz podcast, where Mac, the Rev, and Coach Stu dive into conversations that push the boundaries of wisdom, faith, and culture. The traditional ways have had their time. Now, join them in exploring fresh, diverse perspectives on the challenges we encounter every day.
Welcome to dealing with the challenges, I guess is what I'll say about this episode. Well, any episode. Welcome to the Wise Guyz podcast. So, got the guys here for this episode as always, and we are having a conversation about a couple really cool things. First of all, we've got to talk about what's going on in the Middle East. I think that's high on everybody's list, and so we're going to share a few thoughts about that. And then the Rev and I went to the Pride Parade here in Atlanta on Sunday. And what a great experience that was. And we want to flesh a little bit of that out. And I know Stu's got some examples of how he's encountered some of the very same feelings and environments and relationships that we did on Sunday. So we really want to talk about that because not only are we talking a specific incident, or we'll be talking about specific incidents, but there's a much bigger overarching application that we can make to our own lives and everything that we do.
Well, and here's what I love is we don't just talk about the challenges. We're also talking about the blessings. And I think it's a balanced podcast where it's both necessary to a well-balanced podcast in life.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. We talked last week. We did some stuff. We said, let's talk about something good. We did that last week.
That's the way
right?
I like my news reports, giving something to balance out the not so good.
Well, you got to go to the end of the news report to get that. Yeah, it's always the last thing.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what you can expect today out of this episode. So we're going to kick it off and let's talk about the Middle East a little bit.
Oh, we're going to start right there.
We're going right there, man. That's current events, stuff that's amazing that is happening out there right now. And what are we thinking about that?
Again, I'm going to count my blessing. I found myself proud to be an American, that America had a hand in creating that peace and that ceasefire. And I always want to give credit where credit's due. And our president I'm not always his biggest fan, many times not even close.
Yeah.
But I think he had a hand in creating this. And I want to give kudos where kudos are due. And those who worked with him, Jared Kushner and
his team as
Marco Rubio and the team. I saw Arabs and Jews and Americans sitting on the same stage, all facing the direction of there's got to be peace here. I felt proud of it.
I'm with you. And I think we have to acknowledge there were other world leaders who had to decide for peace. I mean, because if they don't decide to do this, then it doesn't happen. And they have people looking to them for leadership in their area. And this is long standing. We were talking pre-show.
Oh, yeah.
This is lots and lots of years. Yeah. Long time.
It's the Hatfields and McCoys took a day to quit shooting at each other. And it goes way back. But I have hope. I have hope that it can continue.
I think that was the point we were making in the pre-show, that there's still so many nuances to this and still so many things that certainly haven't been overcome or come to agreement on in this ceasefire and release of hostages. Good stuff. Don't get me wrong. I totally agree with you that we got to give kudos where kudos are earned. And Donald Trump and his team had an effect on this. Fantastic. But there's a lot more work to be done before we can even claim peace in the Middle East. We have it for a moment.
We're in chapter 1. And it's a very long book.
So but if you keep it up, and maybe this is the impetus, and maybe this is the start that can really make a difference this time, because this has certainly been tried lots of times before.
I was singing the song, the old-fashioned song. You guys probably don't know it. This could be the start of something big. And I'm going to hold that in my heart with everything I am.
Let's hope.
Seeing the reunification of the hostages with their family was amazing. Yes. I hope people get a chance to see that.
Sure.
It brought up this, seeing the emotion and feeling it, like this brought up emotions for me. It's just
the sobbing of sons and fathers reuniting. It was not manly. It was deep. It was love at a depth that made me weep watching it.
Sure. certainly you can't say anything negative about the scenario per se, because it reunited people. Again, nobody right now in this moment, hopefully, is getting shot and dying. No bombs are being dropped.
I talked about this a couple of weeks ago on Beatles Sunday. When the Beatles appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show 3 times,
right,
3 weeks in a row, there was no violence recorded in America during that episode. And I go, maybe we just need to play more music, play more Beatles music. For that moment, there weren't bombs being dropped. There weren't lives being destroyed. I'll be honest, I had renewed hope in humanity.
Put the Beatles on a loop.
Yeah.
This was the theme of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, that movie. Their music brought peace to the world.
That's true. I remember that. So it's the Beatles that brings peace to our world. I love it. It's whatever it takes.
Yeah. Who knows, right? We talk about this all the time. More than zero.
Yeah.
And an effort is being made. I think for all of us, my recommendation, my encouragement is, I think the Rev's already said that. Stu's already alluded to this. Hope for the best. Lean into this thing and truly send the energy out that says, this could be the start of something big that could
celebrate
change
each moment, right? Just take one moment at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time, and just celebrate it and keep.
That's right. Okay.
Keep breathing, keep moving forward with peace on your heart.
And keep examining any thought of anger or separation or duality or violence that I'm holding. Keep it in check. And the hope can cleanse us of anything that does not belong in the world of peace that we're all imagining.
That's a good takeaway for yourself personally, let alone what's going on over there. It's an attitude to adopt for each one of us. I think that's beautiful. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to, as I mentioned in the introduction, that we went to the Pride Parade in Atlanta. Now, this has been going on for 55 years. There's been a Pride Parade in Atlanta. It's the biggest one, I think I read, in the country. All right.
I don't know.
I think I read that.
It was huge.
Oh, my gosh. There was over 100,000 people there. What did you say? 110, I think was the count.
I heard that, yeah.
Whatever. It's a swag number for sure, but I can believe that just from what I saw. So a great celebration, and our church participated and actually had people walking in the parade, and I drove my boat in the parade, decorated up as a float.
How'd you get the water on the street driving your boat like that? How did that work?
Maybe I need to be a little more specific.
No, we know what you mean. Rudder.
We know what you mean. I'm just playing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had an unbelievable time. And the thing that a couple takeaways, first of all, let me just kind of lay the groundwork for what happened. We drove in that. There was people just everywhere. And it was incredible encouragement. And here's the word I'm going to use, for everyone. It just wasn't, say, people that are associated in that lifestyle and that's part of the celebration. But I'm looking around, there's little kids. There's families. There's all kinds of people that were encouraging and cheering and enthusiastic, very positive.
And I had some trepidation go, oh, is this going to be violent? Is there going to be bawdiness that would offend my prudish nature? What am I going to experience here? And none of that fear came to be, really.
Right.
What I saw were ethnic diversity. I saw religious diversity, because there were several churches there involved in this. And I found people reaching out to help everybody else be together as one.
Yeah.
And listening to music, dancing together, walking up and down and saying, glad you're here. And eye connection being made. Connection was made in that parade.
It was beautiful.
And there was nothing that I had feared that came to be.
Right. There you go.
Again, I had hope.
Yeah. All right. I know, these kinds of experiences where you're willing to go into an environment that you aren't sure about, some trepidation, some fear, the unknown. We're always a little bit fearful of the unknown, especially as things in our culture have been violent across the spectrum. You're exactly right. Are we going to have somebody shot or?
Well, there's something that I don't think I've said in the Remit episode, but I talk about a lot, and it's the labels that we have in our in our culture.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I know at one point I said, I wish we could just get rid of all the adjectives.
Right.
And like, I'm not a white man, like I'm a man, or I'm just a person or whatever. Let's not like label, but
to identify.
With this, the way I see this, like this was like love conquering labels, like love over labels, this celebration. And it made me think like seeking. So the Rev talked about connection, right? Real connection. Seeking to understand others genuinely opens that door to real connection. So this is like love wins. If I may say that.
It was very intentional. That mindset, that consciousness was intentional. I'm here to make connections with people who don't look like I don't have the same lifestyle that I have, but I made connection. And there was somebody in from the church who was very present at the front of our float. And she made eye contact with people and they locked eyes. And in that moment, there was a connection built without dialogue, without any label, without anything except we're on the same earth at the same time and the same human experience together. And I felt that same thing. And it was so incredibly beautiful. Again, this is an episode of hope for me. I have hope that we can do that.
Sure.
So I want to believe that the whole parade was just a series of namaste moments.
That's not the whole parade. There were other moments, but
and what I mean by that, for people that haven't heard us say this word before, it's just looking for the divinity. Like I see the divinity in you. I see the God in you. I see the love in you,
and respect that.
And respect it. So I really want to believe that people were seeing that and not necessarily seeing something different about those people, because love is love.
Yes, absolutely. And that made a difference. The energy that was created from all that is a direct result of that kind of thinking and attitude. But here's something else, though. We talk about connection and we talk about all these great things, and they were, but here's something for me as well. I learned a lot because as we were waiting, we got there and we had to decorate the boat, and then we had to wait because the whole thing was oh my gosh, there was just so many people there. And so we had to wait. And we were walking up and down, looking at the different floats and talking to people. And just what I talked about was, hey, it's great. Aren't we having a great time? It's going to be a great experience, which is fine. But I would dig a little deeper. I would peel the onion back a little bit more.
That's one of your shining moments. You're really good at that.
I just tell me about that. How does that work? Help me understand better this means, and I had some fantastic conversations that just woke me up a little bit to, I didn't realize that. I didn't know.
So was there the parade kicked off at noon and we didn't even push off our starting until 1:15, and we were less than halfway through. It was a big parade, but there was a common intention of everybody in that parade to make those connections, to have those conversations, to create a sense of community, even in the midst of a very diverse display.
Yeah.
And you were part of that. You helped create a community intention for connection.
Because there was interest.
So can it be done with 100,000 people? Can it be done with 1 million people?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I believe it can.
It encouraged me so much that, again, humanity, it sort of gave me a little bit of a shot in the arm about belief in oneness and humanity. And in spite of, and in the face of opposition. There was opposition there, very minor, but it was there, that there was a counter perspective to what the parade was all about and the people in it. And you got to respect that because everybody's come from different places, except what disappointed me. One thing to have the opinion, and it's one thing to voice it, no worries. But that particular voicing was hateful. They use that word hate several times, and it was very degrading and really nasty. Now, I think my reaction was, whatever, I just kept on going because I was driving my car anyway. I had to pay attention to where I was going. But you had made a comment because you saw a little bit greater vista of all that, that really nobody in the parade was paying attention.
I was proud in that moment that with the hate being spewed over a loudspeaker, that nobody turned their attention to confront or to have a battle or to fight against or to argue or debate. They just said, we're going to do us. You go ahead and do you. And I was pleased with that.
Yes.
And it allowed me the ability, because I went to a judgmental place when I first heard. And watching the example of a community saying, we're not going to trade hate for hate. It allowed me to go, I'm going to send love to those people too, because that was my intention to be here.
Right.
And I did. I was able to hold them in my heart and block out the hateful language.
That's awesome.
So I was grateful for the community that taught me a higher way.
I'd like to bring a little bit of God into this if I could.
You can.
That'd be all right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
So there's some scripture that talks about this, Rev, as you know, about what you're describing. And it's in Romans, and it's do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. I believe in God, and everybody knows that listens to this podcast. Sure. And I believe God is everywhere and in everything that we do, good and bad, and the good times and bad times. So I believe God was there touching people's hearts.
Sure.
And especially the people who were just there to celebrate and show love. If there's enough people doing that, then the people that are not doing that, they get diluted.
Yeah. Right.
The love dilutes it. You got so much love out there. So that's how
No, I think that's a great perspective, Stu.
I have to believe that with my whole heart. And when there's critical mass, there's a study of the 100th monkey. If enough of us get to that place, the dark energy or the attacking energy just dissipates. It's away. Right. And consciousness has a shift, and it could be an epiphanal revelation. All of a sudden, we don't need to do that anymore.
Right.
I believe in the power of community and church community, God, love, whatever it is they're looking at, it's something holy and sacred and good.
Yeah. We had mentioned in the pre-show that if you don't engage in a fight, then the fight doesn't happen. Like the battle doesn't happen. My wife is really good at this. If I'm just having one of those nights and I want to get into an argument with her, she just does not engage. And then all of a sudden it's dawn. I'm like, how'd you do that?
I just didn't engage.
I didn't engage with you.
I'm going to have to take some lessons from her, because I try not to do it at home, and it doesn't work.
Oh, man. It's so good. Just the experience itself. And as you guys are talking about changing hearts, changing minds, you have to also believe and hope that lives were changed just by that experience of going, oh my God, look at this. I've never been down here before. I've never done this before. Similar to my reaction, except I didn't come with a hardened heart, but maybe there were some people there that really weren't sure about this whole thing and where they stood when it comes to that lifestyle. Yeah. And so maybe you can go, amen, man. Amen.
I do have to say that the introverted Rem over here needed a good hour nap when he got home, because it was the most extroverted I've been in a long time.
We got some pictures of you up there. I loved them. You were fully decked out, man. You were right in here waving the flag. I thought that was really cool. But
what's really cool about this for me is that I think a lot of people believe that God just shows up like in quiet places. Oh no. No. God's in the noise. God's in the parades.
Oh no.
Locker room, on the wrestling mat in my world. The boardrooms and messy moments, like everything, like God is there.
But what does it require of us? We need to pay attention.
Yeah.
Open your eyes, open your ears. Right. Verily I say to you, he who has ears to hear, if you're listening for God, you're going to find it.
It's like get the antennas up, right? We talk about that all the time.
Yeah. It just shows me that faith isn't really quiet. It can be loud.
It's
in a loving way.
Oh, absolutely.
And it could be in the middle of the street.
Here's what I think about from the Bible anyway about that. And there's two examples. When David came and he danced before the Lord down the streets, and his wife at that time, not Bathsheba, but Michael, he righted him for it. All right. It was part of the deal. And then can't help doing this. Somebody might call it blasphemy. Somebody might say, and how dare you? But there is space, there's white space behind, and between every single line in the Bible, there's white space, because whatever was written there doesn't tell the whole story. It can't, right? And so I've always pictured Jesus having fun with his guys, and sometimes giving them a new, going, you're not, come on,
you knucklehead.
Yeah, you knucklehead. What's going on? They just believe that about the person of Jesus, because if he was fully human, then how can that kind of stuff not be part of the equation?
I love the picture of the laughing Jesus. It's the one I resonate with the most.
Yeah.
It's the man I know. It's the spirit that I know. It's the God essence that I know, laughing and enjoying life.
Yeah.
And that was definitely obvious. It's a very extroverted pride parade. So I believe that God was there, Christ was there, Buddha was there, the good was there.
Absolutely.
And it was really there when I took a nap afterwards.
Now, here's something that it's gonna seem obvious to you guys, but there may be people who might not see this as being obvious. And I've seen these parades and others. I used to live in right downtown, so I used to see these all the time and such. But I think people that haven't experienced this, and it's representing a group of people, if I may, might look at them as all being the same. And that is so not true.
Oh, no way.
There is such diversity amongst all the people that are there. And I don't mean gay or not gay, things like that. I just mean of all the people that are there celebrating.
Culturally.
Yes,
the way they express themselves and dress and action.
Age. I was keenly aware that we were the older float going down the parade, but it was old and young and
little kids.
You guys were bringing in the wisdom. Is that what was happening? I hear float.
I'm going to go with that.
This is the wisdom float.
I'm going to go with that. The other thing don't diminish or not even recognize is it start small. And here's what I mean by that. My wife and I, that's where it starts. Oh, it's going to be fun. Let's go do that together. Number one. All right. Number two, I'm going to go and I'm going to meet some people at the church that I didn't even know. And I was exposed to some new relationships. And then as we went through the whole thing and we were standing there and we were talking and we had the downtime, it was so neat to get to know them better.
Yeah.
To where come a Sunday, we're going to have connection. Like you guys were talking about, connection is super.
And I want to go back to Coach's point about that. It'd be easy to take a glance and go, everybody's all the same here. And the reality was you have to take a deeper look, whether it be at a parade, whether it be in any church you go to, whether it be any community. You cannot put people into a box and say they're all this way. Some might be, some might not be. They're individuals.
They're exotic cocktails.
Yes, they are.
They're
exotic
right?
cocktails.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was really great.
It's the easy way out to just label all of them.
Yeah.
Right. And it is the God way, the love way to go, you're an individual and I will see you as an individual. That's that I connection that was made.
Absolutely.
And here's a really cool thing. As soon as you show up to this event, you are connected with people because you're all you're there for the same reason. It's all just about celebration and love. I'm just going to simplify it. I know there's probably more adjectives in there, and that's what it's about. It's the same thing. We were talking in the pre-show with an event here. Not everybody may know, but it's called Dragon Con. It's Comic-Con where people dress up and they celebrate pop culture, things like that.
Yeah.
And you would be, we're all united in the same thing being there, but you'd be amazed at the diverse people, the diversity that is there, the different kinds of people you wouldn't even imagine. When you think about this world, you think about just geeky people reading, they're book nerds, they're just nerds in general. But you got people that are like high-powered attorneys, you got doctors there, you got policemen there, you name it. And here's the thing, when we're all there, we're all friends because we're all there for the same purpose.
I've had the same experience going to help the homeless people. It's easy to go, the homeless, this is who they are, this is what they're about, until you sit down on the curb and have a conversation and go, wow, this population is as diverse as the rainbow.
Right.
It's incredible. I've met doctors, lawyers, soldiers, people who are choosing that lifestyle. And when you sit and share stories, you begin to see the individual and make a connection.
You just brought that word up, stories. And it's telling stories mutually. And I think there's something that I'm just going to bring up, that it's easy a lot of times to tell your story because it becomes all about you. Yeah. As opposed to, it's okay to tell your story. People want to know about you. Engage with them, but be as receptive, hopefully, that they were to your story, that you are to their story. And you lean in and you make contact and you value their story.
So is that, if it's possible at a pride parade, we're going to listen to each other's stories and get to know each other. Is it possible in the Middle East? Let me sit down and hear your story and try to understand, even though my story is very different. I think we're proving that something is possible.
Yes, possible.
And is it possible in my life that people who think differently than I do? Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier, you said our church teaches a little bit differently than most of the churches in Georgia. But the reality is everybody in every church is there, or synagogue or temple, for the same purpose: community, connection, and love. Okay, let's get rid of the labels. Let's get rid of the judgments and realize that we're all facing the same direction. And I think that is the solution to saving our planet. Maybe not in my lifetime, but I have to believe if it can happen in a pride parade in the Middle East and in our churches, it can happen anywhere.
That whole attitude will permeate everything.
Keep telling your stories.
Yes.
But Rev, I got one for you. That'll preach.
Okay. Another thing about this whole thing is you need to step out. My encouragement is to give yourself away to some cause, if you will, outside of yourself.
Yep.
You talk about all these stories. You guys have known this. I probably have talked about this in podcast, but I do a lot of stuff with Habitat. And to go there and see the diversity, it's amazing. And yet, I remember I gave a talk at an annual thing that Habitat had. And I said, look, okay, I love you guys. This was all the Habitat people. I said, I love you guys because look around this room. How unbelievably, I think I said, look at this bunch of eclectic misfits. I said, because you could see the same kinds of thing. And yet I said, you know what? Because one thing binds and bounds all of us together. And it's that we're out there giving ourselves away in the same way per se, not personality-wise, in the big picture scheme of things. And if you don't do that, if you don't engage and find community in that whole thing, you're just missing it.
I remember my first Habitat build. I was swinging a hammer with two other guys on either side, and we were friends, and we were laughing and having a good time serving humanity, only to find out that the guy on my left was an imam, and the guy on my right was a rabbi.
Yeah.
And I was the minister in the middle. There's a joke there somewhere. I don't know. We didn't walk into any bars.
Into a bar.
But the reality is, the labels were gone.
Yeah.
We were not leaders of a certain religious sect. We were three guys building a house for a family.
Well, the builds that you're talking about are even more geared because it's an ecumenical build where you have a bunch of different churches that are contributing toward this whole thing. It makes it even more diverse, quite frankly, those builds versus the ones that I'll do down in Atlanta.
But your point is, the labels don't matter in that whole moment.
Exactly. You're focused on giving yourself away toward that family that's going to live in this house.
That's really like true fulfillment and joy. It's giving yourself away, serving something larger than yourself.
Absolutely.
So, Mac, we have to tell the story about our Habitat.
No.
So this is the most amazing thing that occurred. Mac and I were leading a group at a homeless shelter
downtown Atlanta. Yeah.
And we were leading a group, and they all were interested in hanging out with us because Mac and I have that.
You're very personal vibe.
Yeah. We're like, they're like, you guys are cool. We want to hang out. So we're like, we're going to go like Habitat this weekend. Okay, we want to go. And so we had to literally go pick them up because they're homeless guys. So that weekend we picked up homeless men and took them to build a home for somebody else.
I just love that.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. They had the most incredible time. They were smiling the whole time. They were happy. They were joyful, still knowing they had to go back to be their homeless situation. But man, did they feel good about that day.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Like, to me, that is the most amazing, one of the most amazing stories I had.
And I think we gave them hope because they were at the shelter down there trying to change their life.
Yes.
They were in a program. They were then going to go to work and make money and then be self-sufficient and get a place to live. A whole normal process that most people go through, right? And I think it gave them a bit of a vision that said, you know what, there's good stuff coming out there. And I wanted to be able to minister them as well. I didn't think we did, let alone going downtown.
That was good medicine all around.
Yeah, it really was.
This, I don't remember what the Bible passage is for this one, but it goes something like this, like whoever wants to save their life will lose it. That's part of
The
what
first
this
will be
is.
the last, and the last will be the
Right.
first.
That's what this is all about. Anybody that's ever seen that, that's what this means. That's what that means. It's
Yeah.
you
What we're
gotta
talking. You got to let go. You need to let your old self die in some ways so that it can resurrect.
Those guys
It's
were not
something new.
concerned about their own homelessness in that moment.
You're
We
right.
gave them the gift. I thought, I hate raking leaves. In my yard, I hate it. If you ask me to go help somebody else rake up their yard, it's total
Right.
joy for me.
Yeah.
I think that what you did in that little metaphor speaks to the innate nature of humanity.
Yeah.
And we want to do things for others. It's built into all the religious systems. It's service to humanity. And I think what you did is create an opportunity for them to
beautiful.
get out of themselves for a minute and go, I made a difference to one family.
And as a supervisor down there, one of my goals was to not just supervise and get the job done. Hey, put this hammer in your hand. Hey, nail that over there, whatever it might be. It was also about shepherding the experience. That you would go down and you would interact with them and you would find out about them and why are you here and how many different times have you come, and the whole thing. You would just make that experience that much better for them because you were engaging directly.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about go over there and do that.
You put a bunch of takeaways from this whole experience this weekend that are just what you just talked about.
Yeah.
Seeking to understand others genuinely, overcoming the fear factor of something that might go wrong. You're going down to be interacting with people and foreign cultures. That's what you had to do. And that took guts. That took courage, a willingness to move outside your comfort zone and reap the blessings. These are all requirements, I believe, of any spiritual. We need to live these. We need to have the courage and the strength to do these things, to be gracious toward those who look different, who think different, who act different, who feel differently.
Right.
That takes guts.
We were talking in the pre-show as well. You were giving an example of one of the guys that you follow from a spiritual standpoint. And you were talking about how over the time, because you've been following this guy for a while, he's changed.
Yes.
He's his focus a little bit, his spirituality, because this is grounded in spirituality. I think I made the comment, and this is just the way I look at it, that to me, that's an indication, not of a deeper spirituality, because to me, when people have a deeper spirituality, they're going to change. They're going to evolve because new experiences come to them, new revelations come to them, and it develops new perspectives. They're not afraid of that, that they're leaning in and aren't afraid to express it either. I know that was me then, okay? And I remember, that was me. But things have changed for me over the last year, 5 years. Whatever. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people about that. And I feel good in my own skin about it. And I don't mind telling you about it. And I risk really?
Yeah.
That's
I might be judged.
Oh, yeah. But it was bold. And I loved that story that you were telling about. But we can go to lots of different examples of people that we hold up. Rob Bell.
Yeah.
He's another one.
Yeah. He was transformed over time.
Right.
So we all are.
Right.
God, I hope I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago.
But I think a different person I don't know how else to say this without sounding judgmental, but a different person in a good way. You know what I mean? We can also change and become more hard-hearted, or we become more angry, or more divisive, or more whatever you want to call it, versus more enlightened, have a higher consciousness, have more love. But that's hopefully what, like the Rev's saying, hopefully we're different over time in those ways, which is amazing. That'll change the world.
During the pre-show, I wrote these words down. It means more conversation. More conversation leads to more community. More community leads to more connection. And more connection leads to more Christ, more light. But we got to take the step.
Hello. I love it, man. That's right. It's got to start, though. Faith without
one
works.
who starts the conversation,
Faith without works.
who creates the community, who creates the
That's
connection, and actually lives as the Christ instead of putting all that responsibility on somebody else.
You know what Stu called that several episodes ago? And I thought it was so poignant. He called it courage. To have the courage to be able to step out, do something different, hate the tomatoes if you need to, all right? But know that you're pressing into making the world and a better place as you change and offer a different you in some ways to the world. That to me is the mission. Why are you here? What's the purpose of life? That whole quintessential question. There it is. As far as I'm concerned. So
that was my mindset on this boat. I was holding this very heavy flag and a very heavy wind, and my body was going screaming. I kept thinking of the coach, man, I'm getting my workout, coach. But I kept thinking, I'm an insignificant, small little piece in this huge parade with this 100,000 people. But I'm working to make the world a better place. And it gave me strength I didn't have physically. About halfway through, I was ready to quit. But I was like, I'm doing this for a greater cause. And I found a second win. I think if the whole world could realize that every action, every word, every thought, every reaction has the possibility to make the whole world a better place.
There was 100,000 people there making the world a better place, Frank. But every individual had to make the decision, I'm going down there.
And that's, again, back to our original conversation. There were a lot of people involved in this moment of peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody on that stage, everybody signing a document had to make a decision to do something for the betterment of humanity.
Absolutely.
Like I said, and I'll shut up. I have hope. But
you brought up courage. Let me just make one point that I always say with this. Courage doesn't mean there's no fear.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it means there is fear and you continue to move forward or stay in motion and deal with it.
Absolutely. I
So
think that's great
it's
perspective.
being uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Where have I heard that before? Let's see.
That's how you grow your faith.
It's used to.
Yeah, that's me. That's my thing.
Hey, so what a great experience. We love to tell the story of this thing and probably will continue to tell the stories about this because, again, this is what changes the equation, to share stories and for people to look at you and go, wow, I never thought about it that way. That's amazing. Gee, if it changed you like that, and I like that, I want some of that, I think it can change me too.
It's like the guys, the homeless men that looked at us. We didn't say anything that caused them to look at us and say, what, there's something about you guys. Like, we just were being who we were based on what we've done in our lives. And that's what I want to tell everybody, to encourage you just to continue to move forward and just keep on your journey, keep on your path, on your adventure. I always call it an adventure, right? Keep on it. Cause eventually one day you're going to think back, wow, like different now. Like you may not even, that's the best when you don't know what's happening.
Yeah. But
and
other
then all
people
of a sudden,
do.
other people see it.
What's beautiful about that is you go back and go, I'm different now. And then you look back and go, I changed a lot of lives being and growing and stretching. So it's affecting more than just you. Yeah, grow, keep going, but you're also affecting a lot of people.
It's a wonderful life, Rev.
It is.
It's a wonderful life.
I think the Rev answered the question or asked the question.
Sorry.
Oh, gosh.
It's late and I'm a little punchy.
I know. Rev asked the question when we were in the pre-show, and he looked at me and he said, so what's the theme, or what do we have an overarching kind of idea that's getting transmitted in this? And what did I say? I looked over this thing and I went, seek to understand others genuinely. They are hungry for connection as well. That's these guys at the homeless down at the shelter down there.
Yes.
They want a connection.
Yes.
And so give it to them. Let them see how beautiful it is. Because really what they were saying to us down there was, what's going on with you guys? You guys got something, okay? We want some of that, okay? And I think there you go. To me, there's no sweeter words that I can hear from somebody when they say to me, I don't know what the hell's going on here, but I want some of that, okay? That's beautiful. Whether it's the church or whether it's you individually or whatever, a family, it doesn't matter, friendship. So awesome stuff tonight, guys. Rev, again, thanks for the participation and the encouragement, because I wouldn't have gotten my boat into the equation. If you hadn't put the bug in the ear of the woman that was coordinating the thing, she never would have called me.
It's one of the gifts of the Spirit that I was given, persuasion.
So, I'm not putting you on the spot. Love it. Great perspective, Stu, and all the stuff that I'm glad you brought that thing up about down there at the shelter.
Yeah.
Really, truly. And I think I had mentioned the Dragon Con thing that you used to do every year.
Every year? Yeah, I still do it. Yeah.
Oh, you still do it?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Let me tell you, he is not a nerd or a geek either.
No. So this has been great. It's great to share perspectives, encouragement. I think that's another overarching theme of this episode is just encouragement. Whether it's the three of us or whether it was 100,000 people, it doesn't matter. The energy that gets created was amazing. So thanks for this, my wise guys. Thank you out there for listening. We appreciate it. So come back and listen to us. We put an episode out every week. And maybe you'll just pick up some nuggets from us. We hope that's true. So again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the flip side.